Oh, great. Thank you. All right, I'd like to call this meeting of the West Haymarket JPA to order. I'm Lyrian Gaylor-Baird, serve as mayor, and to my right is Regent Tim Clare, and to my left is Councilmember Tammy Ward. This is a public meeting subject to the Open Meetings Act, which is posted in the back of the chamber. And in terms of how we'll conduct the meeting, the clerk, Casey, will read each item on the agenda, and then staff will come forward to present. At that point, following staff presentation, we'll take public comment. We'd ask that each speaker please state your name and address for the record and limit your testimony on each item to 5 minutes. And with that, Casey, please call the first item.
Approval of the minutes from the JPA meeting held January 27th, 2022.
Hey, are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, approval of the minutes moved by Ward, seconded by Clare. Please call the roll.
Clare,
Yes.
Gaylor-Baird,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. The next item is approval of the payment register for January through March 2022 and review of the expenditure report as of March 31st, 2022.
Good afternoon. I'm Melinda Jones, the interim finance director and the interim West Haymarket JPA treasurer. We're here to ask for approval of the quarterly payment register going from January to March 2022 with a total expenditures of $1,672,476. I'd like to go over some of the highlights that we have indicated in our memo to you. Most of these are very routine and in the budget type expenditures, except for maybe one, and I'll go over that later. We had $19,678 to the Lancaster County Treasurer for our annual maintenance of the special assessments on the properties that we are owned by the West Haymarket JPA. $102,944 was our quarterly expenditure for city staff costs that is in the budget as approved. We have a $55,387 to the city controller for the annual payments of the arena's festival lot maintenance that is performed by our Parks and Rec department, and $23,000 for the Downtown Lincoln Association for the Arena Drive maintenance. We had 3 months worth of parking garage management fees paid from December 21st, 2021 into February 2022. That total was $221,887. We also had $713,945 to the District Energy Corp for the January through March quarterly payments. 72% of that is billed back to our customers, and that amount is $517,811. Payments that were made actually to the Pinnacle Bank Arena in total of $524,332 were for the items listed below. $86,461 for arena repair and maintenance from December through February. $8,801 for data processing and other miscellaneous equipment. And then during basketball, state basketball tournament, the sound system started to go having some problems, and they needed to get a quick fix to get a replacement parts to get the sound system up and going for the tournament. So we had an unexpected expense of $29,700. And that would be the one I was talking about. It was not quite routine or in the budget, but we'd have other offsetting costs where we should be able to still maintain this within our budget. $250,000 for the third quarter payment for sponsorships that are given over to the Pinnacle Bank Arena, as well as our budget amount of our operating increment to them for $150,000. Any questions on the payment register? Yes, Tim.
On $102,944 for staff costs. What's the breakdown on that? And we've talked about this a bunch, and I've asked like every month or quarter for, can we see the hourly rates and how the time has been allocated? Because I don't think it's fair for us if we're getting shorted, nor is it fair to that the city is paying too much or not enough. I think that is something we have to, I'm just curious what the 102,000 is for.
Yeah, that is an allocation that, or an analyzing we do. We're currently working on another analyzing for the next budget. We should have some of those numbers to show you going for the next budget, but in some cases, you can't always do an hourly rate. For example, our account clerk 3, that's processing your deposits, it may only take her 2 minutes to do a deposit for that day or so, but then there's other things involved later on in that where we aggregate all that money together, and they have to do daily balancing. There's other bank reconciliations and all that. So we look at it as a per price unit of what a deposit costs, overall the cost allocation. And we do this for other funds as well, our enterprise and internal service funds, on how we bill our services out. So I know we look at it that way, as well as the JPA. Now there's other costs. I'm not exactly sure how law department allocates their costs, but then we also have the JPA controller that we do a cost study and evaluate what they're doing for other areas. And so, but we'll have that information, I think, later on.
I'm not disagreeing that the city's doing stuff. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that. What I'm saying is that I think it rather than having a formula or having something like this, it'd be nice to see what makes up $103,000 is a lot of money. And when we set this project up, we said the city is not going to fund the arena, and the arena is not going to fund the city.
Correct.
And so I just want to see what the allocations are.
Okay. We should be able to work on that.
And again, you what?
We do have a current spreadsheet for the budget.
If you could show that to me, I've asked about this for years. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, yeah, we'll get that off to you all. I wasn't aware you didn't see last year's budget as well, so, okay.
I saw the budget, but I don't think have.
You actually haven't seen the cost?
There's a spreadsheet that goes behind that number we put in the budget that shows the breakdown between our various employees, how much is being allocated.
And you can track it back to the 103,000 we spent this quarter?
Yeah, what we're doing is we put that. Mark Lycum, City Finance. What we did, Tim, is when we established the budget, we had the breakdown of costs for different employees, specific employees, and then we consolidated it into a total number for going into the budget. And what we're doing here is we're just paying out a quarterly amount of that amount that we came up with at the start of the year. So this just represents 1/4 of what that total budgeted amount was.
Okay.
And that's how
Well,
it's
if you
working.
could just help me out and just send that to me then?
Yeah,
again.
yeah, we can get that to you.
All right.
Any other questions on the payment registers? All right, then I'd like to move on to the occupation tax summary. Our fiscal year-to-date has an increase from prior year of $2,956,000, and that is a 37% increase. So we are bouncing back from the pandemic and having a nice rebound. Our budget over original projections from the 2012 projections, we are at 19% above that, with an excess of $2,799,751. Our corresponding year for our original projections is at 2030. I think during the pandemic, we were as low as 2024, so we have recovered 6 of those years back from where we were once at. Inception to date comparison has an excess of $25,815,216, which is an increase of a little over 17.5%.
Where do these figures, you talked about it briefly the other day when we were spoke on the telephone. Where do these figures again correlate to 2019? Because that was the last full operational year, I believe.
I have that for 2020 March comparison. If you want 19, I'll have to get back to you on that. But from March of 2022 to March of 2020, we have seen a $630,000 increase, which is a 6.1% increase from our pre-pandemic effects, or pre-pandemic rates or collections, sorry.
So just to clarify, that means looking at this document, which compares to 2021, when most of the shows weren't happening, you see this almost 37% improvement. But if you actually take a look back from today back to when we had sort of business as usual, it's really only like a 6% growth.
Correct.
Which is still to the positive,
good,
but
Yeah.
kind of right sizes helps us
Right.
see where we are. Okay,
Right.
thank you. Any other questions?
And just to point out, our overall fund balance is up from our beginning of our year. We're at $40,730,000 at $997. So.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation. At this time, we would take any public comment on this item. Item 4, the payment register.
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. I would like to have copies monthly of these forms since we're only meeting quarterly. Is that possible?
We're just doing quarterly reporting now.
What?
We're only reporting on a quarterly basis now. We're not doing monthly reports.
Mark, why don't you
Mark?
come on up to the microphone?
We're no longer producing monthly reports. We're doing quarterly reports since the board's only meeting quarterly.
Okay, so there's no way the public can see how things are going?
Those aren't just, we aren't producing those reports at this time, I guess.
Chris, would you like to come in?
Okay.
Chris Connolly, City Law Department. We're only generating reports on a quarterly basis now, so if you're asking for other documentation in the in-between months, we won't have any to produce for you, okay? And we're not obligated to put them together because that's not the way we generate the documents.
Okay, so we don't know what the arena is doing, and we don't know about the total budget,
On a quarterly basis, we sure do.
but not monthly?
If, we will know that internally, but we're not having any documents put together that demonstrate that.
Okay, and so Watchdogs cannot have that. Is that what you're
There's
saying?
not a document on a monthly basis, that is correct.
Okay. Can we send an email and ask for it?
Again, there's not going to be a document that has that. Now, if you want to make a request for a specific number of some kind,
Okay.
we
can
may
do
be able to accommodate that, but I can't promise. It will depend on the availability of staff to be able to answer the question and that sort of thing.
Okay,
But you're entitled to make that request.
okay. And is Melinda the person to address that to?
It would go to Mark Lycum.
Mark? Okay, thank you. It looks like still the PBA is a money pit. Things keep going wrong, and they have to, and they're taken care of, whatever they ask for. We're coming into a time when there's not a lot of projection that the economy is going to be good, that people are going to have money to spend, and that times are going to be tough. We may be over the pandemic, but we're not out of trouble. So we feel it needs to be more carefully looked at as far as what needs to be done, this, that, and the other. Now, on one of the items, it says ADA ramp improvements, and you're also asking for more in the next resolution. So should we ask for discussion at that time on that one, or can we discuss it now?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question?
Okay, on the payment register, in the middle of the page, it says JED Consulting ramp improvements for $9,752.50. We approved that, as I remember, in the last meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry,
A
I'm
minute.
not clear on what
I
you're
I believe what
referencing.
you're referring to are design fees to an engineering firm for ramp work that is coming up for consideration today.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is like a preliminary evaluation of what,
No, this is the actual design of the ramp.
okay. And the other is supposed to be the production of the ramp.
When you say the other, you're talking about the resolution that's
Yeah,
up for
today.
today? Correct, that will be for the construction.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Would anyone else like to testify on the payment register? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ward, second by Claire. Any further discussion? All right, please call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. The next item is WH 22-4, resolution to approve a unit price contract with MTZ Construction for a total amount not to exceed $32,136.25 for the Pinnacle Bank Arena ADA ramp improvement project in front of the city ticket office, or in front of the PBA ticket office, pursuant to bid number 21-003.
Good afternoon, Adam Hobel-Heinrich with Project Control. As was just mentioned earlier, we've been looking at doing, with the Pinnacle Bank Arena staff, looking at doing a ramp south of the ticket office for ease of access for pedestrians. The arena meets all ADA requirements currently. This is due to traffic patterns of the public and to ease access to the facility. We talked earlier, we had an agreement for the design. That is complete. We went through the city's procurement office and used their unit price contracting method to find a competitive number for $32,136.25 to MTZ Construction. And based on current market conditions, we at Project Control recommend approval.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Payment for this will come out of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's an maintenance endowment set up in the West Haymarket area, and payment for this will come from the proceeds of that.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to testify on this item, Resolution WH 22-4 on the unit price contract?
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs. We brought this up before, and we still feel that this should have been taken care of in the original design, and that some question ought to be made about why that was. We would also like to say that Watchdogs doesn't approve of bringing a proponent of marijuana usage to the PBA in the midst of a gathering of voter signatures to put this on the ballot in Nebraska. It looks like there is a connection, whether there was intent or not, as to be an advocate for pot smoking. Taxpayers' money should not be used for such a purpose, and we have a question of the legality of this. Trying to make PPA's balance sheet in the red should never be used in this way. The human costs of addiction and substances to them and the maiming and killing of innocence of those who abuse substances should never be condoned by a public entity. So we stand against this misuse, and we ask that the board do so also. It may be too late to cancel the event, but not to make a public statement of dissociation from it.
Would anyone else like to speak on this item? Seeing none, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ward, second by Claire. Any further discussion on this item? All right, please call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Motion carried 3-0. The next meeting date will be held Thursday, August 25th, 2022 at 2:30 PM here in council chambers.
Okay, and with that, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ward, second by Claire. Please call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes,
Ward.
Yes.
we are adjourned. Thank you.